Talking Grit, a Detroit Lions podcast. Powered by the Monroe County Reporters. Here are your hosts, Jason Harwood and Jacob Litton.
Welcome to Talking Grit. I am Jason Harwood. Over there is Jacob Litton. We are happy to have you on for this Lions and Eagles preview. In the middle of this episode, we have JC from JC Sports. Very good interview. Jacob went to the Pistons game tonight, so he wasn't there for the interview, but he's here now. We're recording like at 11:30 at night. I am trying to stay awake. I'm drinking a Pepsi. How are you doing, Jacob? I know Pistons, no one played that game, but they won. So were your kids okay?
Yeah, man, I'm floating. The kids were a little upset to find out that Cade was not going to play Jalen Duren, and then the list of pretty much every starter, anyone with meaningful minutes, did not play in this one. So it was the Pistons' own version of the Legion of Whom, right? So just people that you probably didn't know of, but hey, they came to play and they beat the Bulls. I know we talked about it a little bit, but I forgot I didn't mention. So like one of the best parts of it is they had this running thing going. Obviously, because the Pistons and the Bulls have a rivalry, but they had a running thing going where it would pop up. The first thing it did, it was just a picture. So the first they had Scooble. They announced that Scooble won, the Cy Young, the back-to-back. So that was awesome. That got a lot of cheers. And then a little bit later they showed it was just a picture of Dan Campbell, and the corner said Detroit. So obviously, anytime you show Dan Campbell anyway, you're going to get a good round of applause. So Dan Campbell's on the screen. Everybody's cheering and clapping, and then all of a sudden it flashes, and then it's Ben Johnson. And then here come the boos and everything. Well, then, I caught right away. So Ben Johnson comes on there, and the corner says Chicago. So then for the rest of the game, like during timeouts and stuff, it would pop up. It was like a Detroit-style pizza, and everybody was just cheering. And then a Chicago deep dish came up, and then everybody was booing. And then there was like a picture of the fist in downtown Detroit, the statue, the Joe Louis, and then everybody's cheering. Shows like the bean in Chicago, everybody boos. So that just happened like for the rest of the night, just so that we could boo Chicago. So it was a really good time. Pistons won.
Yeah,
didn't matter who was out there. So good time with the kids and with my sister.
Yeah, that was a great game, man. They played. That was it was still a little high scoring, but there was actually some defense played in that game. I enjoyed watching it. I'm glad that they got a win, because if you drove all the way up there and then all those guys didn't play, that would have been disappointing.
Yeah, right. Especially with how how far we were up by like 20 and then start slipping away in the end. It's like, don't disappoint me right now.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Pistons have only lost 2 games this year. One of those games is to the Bulls, right? Earlier this year.
The very, very first game was against the Bulls in Chicago. We lost.
Yep. All right, that's what I thought. So,
but they're one seed in the East right now. So hey, we're going with it.
That's crazy. All right, man. We're here to talk the Lions. Jacob's been kind of in Pistons mode. I'm catching him up on things, but wow, he is up to date on transactions. So Jacob, why don't you tell us what transactions transpired today?
All right, transactions. So we released offensive lineman Jack Conley from the practice squad. So Jack Conley was on the team for, I believe, that makes it like 5 or 6 days. Just when we were short, brought him on. So we've released Jack Conley. In his place on the practice squad is going to be tight end Anthony Ferkser. Doesn't make us feel great about the injury report coming up later, but other noteworthy transactions, DJ Reed and Marcus Davenport. We did start the practice window for both of those. So the clock has been started. At the latest, they should be back in the Dallas Cowboys game. So, hopefully sooner than that, but also there's no reason to rush the healing process along, because these are 2 guys that we, especially, DJ Reed is super valuable, really need him, but if you could get Davenport to just get healthy, man, I don't know what the odds are of him getting healthy and staying healthy the whole year. I'd say probably pretty low, but don't rush him back. We're doing okay. And then the last thing is Jahmyr Gibbs won the offensive player of the week. So, shouts out to Ja. He had a great game, obviously, and he was rewarded for it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And he plays well on prime time. So Sunday Night Football, got Saquon on the other side. He's going to want to hit a good showing this week. Follow that last week's with this week's.
Absolutely. He's going to have a tougher defense to do it against, though.
Sure. We'll start with their offense first. Main threats for the Eagles. Quite a few names on this list. I mean, there are just on offensive alone, they had 6 NFL top 100 players, starting with tackle Jordan Mailata, PFF ranked number 6 tackle. Cam Jurgens did not play in that Packers game. It's listed on the injury report, which we'll get to in a little bit. May or may not play, but ranked 16 of 37 for centers. He's on the tush push. He's right in there. Causing false starts, maybe. All right. QB Jalen Hurts, PFF ranked 8 of 37. He came in NFL top 100, number 19. You got wide receiver Devonta Smith, who had a huge catch in that Packers game on Monday Night Football. And he comes in at rate. I was surprised by this 12 of 127. Is that rating higher than you expected, Jacob?
I would say he's the most valuable receiver in their offense right now. I don't know how much that is saying. I don't have his actual stat wise, but he's a downfield threat. So I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know how well. I don't know how much PFF takes in run blocking and things of that sort, because I don't think he has much value there. But
yeah. Talking about blocking, tackle Lane Johnson, who did leave that Packers game a little bit, and he does show up on the injury report, which we'll get to in a little bit. So that's something to watch out for. Comes in ranked number 17 out of 76 for tackles. Come in NFL top 100, number 23. Wide receiver A.J. Brown, rated 38th of 127. Lots of controversy around A.J. Brown and, whether people are twisting his words, but I could tell you, and it gets brought up in the interview with JC about kind of his lack of effort in that Packers game, especially on that last 4th and 6, whether they should have hiked it or not. There was just a lack of effort. So when you get to the interview, JC and I talk about that, and I was interested what he had to say as a.
I think that's the bigger question mark, is him being rated 38 and not being rated much lower, because AJ Brown has had a terrible season.
I agree.
And he actually, I saw this quote today, which I don't have confirmation for sure. I didn't see it myself on Instagram, but I saw somebody else that shared it, where he was like, somebody asked him about fantasy. They always get on these players about being on their fantasy teams. And he was like, if I'm on your fantasy team, don't start me.
Yeah, I'm sure that's said in jest as opposed to, meaning that he's not going to do anything. But yeah, they don't, those guys, especially when they're having tough times, don't want to hear about that. But he does seem checked out, which, hopefully he's checked out for another week, because we don't have to deal with him, because he is a big body receiver that's tough, tough to guard when he wants to do what he wants to do. Came in NFL top 100, number 29. And the last player we'll mention, Saquon Barkley, definitely having a down year, especially compared to last year. Comes in as rated 44 of 55 on the running backs. He did, however, come in an NFL top 100, number 1 overall. Had an amazing season last year. Whether he's having, a layover for being used so much last year, then going a deep playoff run into the Super Bowl, or if it's just offensive line help up front, it's hard to tell. But he's certainly, or teams are just focusing and saying, Jalen Hurts, you got to beat us. There could be a combination of all that, but he's still dangerous. He still broke up in that game last week with a screen pass. So, you have to be reminded, even if he's not rushing the ball, just like Ja, you have to have, multiple people on him, because he will just burn you.
Yeah, it's probably a combination of both, but you can't carry the ball 350 or 400 times in a year and then go on that deep of a run and then be expected to be able to do the exact same thing. It's exactly why running backs, time is extremely limited, because you just can't keep doing that. And, he doesn't have David Montgomery to take the heat off him for half of the game. He's got an A.J. Dillon who's been invisible.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think he played last week. But I have to use Tank Bigsby. But yeah, it's all right. We'll hopefully Saquon will be invisible on Sunday night. I doubt it. I think he'll make his presence felt in some way or shape or form, but we need to keep him in check. All right, Jacob. I went through the offense. Why don't you go through defense?
All right. Main threats on defense. There are a handful of them. I like how you started with this one, because this is still bothersome, so we can talk about this guy right away. So first linebacker, Jihad Campbell, Pro Football Focus is rated number 6 out of 83. He's a rookie, and this is somebody we both had our eye on, and he was available at our draft spot, and somebody that we thought maybe, just maybe, we're going to go here. Not that we needed a linebacker this year. Obviously, our linebackers are really good, but I mean, a young guy that we can bring on who has enormous upside. We decide to go a different way. Jihad Campbell goes to the Eagles and has been having a great season. Moving on, I don't want to dwell on that too much. Second person, defensive lineman. I'm gonna butcher this name. Moro.
No, I got it. Moro.
Hang on, wait. I wanted to try first. You stole my thunder.
I'm sorry.
That's exactly how I was gonna say it.
I know how tired you are.
That's exactly how I was gonna say it. So
I'm sure. Okay.
Moro Ojomo. Is that what you said?
Yep,
That's what.
Good job.
That's the stab I was gonna take. All right. Defensive lineman. He's rated number 8 out of 125. Cornerback Cooper DeJean, Pro Football Focus, number 8 out of 109. He was NFL Top 100, number 60. Definitely been an effective player for them. Linebacker Zach Bond, number 8 out of 83. NFL Top 100, number 26. Edge Josh Uche. Did I say that right, or is it Uche?
That I don't know. I didn't look that one up.
I'm pretty sure it's Uche because he went to Michigan, correct?
Yes.
So Pro Football Focus rated him number 11 out of 114. The other cornerback, Quinion Mitchell. Did I say that right? Of course I did. Quinion's from Toledo.
You said that right.
He's rated number 27 for cornerbacks. He actually was on the NFL Top 100 as well, number 49. And then the big defensive lineman, Jalen Carter, he's rated number 38 out of 125 on Pro Football Focus, but he was number 43 on the Top 100. And I mean, he's a big threat. He's a big body, and he's somebody that's going to disrupt the running game for sure.
Yep.
If he doesn't spit on Jared Goff before the game starts and throw him out.
That's what I was just about to say. We got to do something to get him spit on him and just get him out of the middle.
Jared Goff's making these defensive linemen mad, so whatever he did to Kinlaw, just do it to Carter before the game starts.
Kinlaw, like, you heard Jared Goff's response to that, like on 97.1. Did you? Oh, it was hilarious. If you haven't heard it, look it up, or if you go to our YouTube channel, I did a short, basically chronicling the whole thing that happened, and then it has both Goff's response on 97.1 and Amon-Ra's response on his St. Brown podcast. So you can just kind of go there and look at it all. But yeah, what was Kinlaw doing? He goes off sides and he gets right in Jared Goff's face, like, whatever. Get on your side of the field.
What do you think he's saying? He's like, I'm coming. I don't care when you snap the ball. I'm coming.
Yeah, exactly. That play should have been whistled dead anyways. All right, man. All right, man. Let's get to the practice report for the Eagles. Fairly healthy. They're coming in pretty healthy. The question for them, and that we're going to have to keep an eye on, is their offensive line. So guard Landon Dickerson has a quad injury, limited practice. Lane Johnson has an ankle injury, limited practice. And Cam Jurgens has a knee injury. He's limited practice. They also have another offensive line, Tyler Steen. He's limited practice, but everybody else was full practice that was on there. So they're coming in pretty healthy. Even they even do not have, like, their players on IR are, not major players. So they are coming in as healthy as can be into this game. We are not, Jacob. So why don't you tell everyone this extensive list that the Lions provided? Now, this is a Wednesday practice report, so don't get too freaked out because we have a feeling that some of these people are going to be playing. But if you want to go through that, Jacob,
yeah,
I'll sit back and take a nap for half an hour.
Yeah, right. That was part of the knock last year when you compared the Lions and the Eagles. I think the Eagles had the least, I forget the metric, but I mean, like, their starters missed the least amount of time in the league. Like, they had the least amount of injuries, missed time injuries, missed game injuries in the entire league. So even though, some of these guys are having limited practices or no practices, I mean, generally they have been a pretty healthy team. On the other hand, we have not. Injuries have plagued us, and, we've been playing banged up and everything. So injury report for Wednesday. Cornerback Terrion Arnold did not practice. He's still dealing with a concussion. it's going to hurt as I read these names, but Aiden Hutchinson, also no practice, dealing with the elbow. Kirby Joseph, still not practicing with that knee injury. Sam Laporta did not practice, dealing with a back issue. Panay Sewell, no practice because of an ankle. Sione Vaki, once again, this time was an ankle, no practice. Brock Wright did not practice due to an ankle injury. So, I mean, if that's the part about having a tight end signed to the practice squad is if Laporta and Brock Wright can't go, or obviously one or the other, we're going to need some depth, some help.
Yeah.
Moving on to some of the better news, I guess you could say. So we do have several players that the practice clock is going, or people that we're expecting come back. So Marcus Davenport got in limited work. Miles Frazier, limited practice. Josh Pascal, the edge, got limited practice. Malcolm Rodriguez actually got a full practice in. So we don't know for sure if he's going to play, but his time's running out to be activated. So hopefully they activate him for this game. That would be great to have him back. But if they don't, then they are going to have to activate him, just shortly afterward. So he would debut next week. Other limited practices, Graham Glasgow had a limited practice with a back injury. Taylor Decker, Stoppy, if you heard this one before, limited or no practice on a Wednesday, always with the shoulder. Pat O'Connor limited with the knee, and then Jacob Saylor's limited injury, still with the limited practice, still with the back injury. So yet again, an extensive practice report for us.
Yeah. So Aiden was interviewed today, said that he is going to play. So this was just about, getting some rest in there. Man, I really was hoping Kirby would play in this game. I could just see him pulling down an interception. You're right. The tight ends, that is worrisome. However, I am encouraged that Taylor Decker practiced today. I mean, he had been not practicing on Wednesday, so he's out there. I think Trista
in
Colon
a limited capacity, though.
Right. I know, but he's out there. He was no practice before, so that's a good sign that he's gonna, he'll be playing. Tristan Colon played pretty well while Graham was out for that series. So that was encouraging for me. Like if Graham has to move over to guard for whatever reason, injury or whatever, I thought Awosika played all right in that game. If I felt pretty good about that, and then Malcolm Rodriguez being full practice, I have a feeling he's going to be activated for Sunday. If he's full practice already on Wednesday, I think they'll bring him back. Especially like a couple of these other special teams guys like Jacob Sailors or Vaki are out. There'll be a spot on that will need someone on special teams. I mean, not that he's going to be returning kicks or anything, but it'll open up a special team spot at least.
If they're going to let Grant Stewart get a shot, then whatever. Let's throw Rodrigo back
Malcolm
there.
played fullback, right?
Right, right.
So, yeah.
Let's not let our linebacker coming back from a knee injury return kicks.
Yeah, that might not be the smartest move there. All right, Jacob. Let's go through some team stats before we get to the interview with JC. So I will start here with points scored. Philadelphia comes in 12th ranked at points scored, averaging 24.2 points. We are still number 2 at 31.4. It went up from last week. We're still in the second rank, but I, like you, probably feel so much better about this offense now that Dan Campbell's, calling the shots up there. The more I thought about this week, Jacob, I just feel like in a bed with a comfy blanket. I feel like I'm back at home. Like this is great. This is what I love.
Right.
Points scored as defensively, Philadelphia allows they're ranked 10th in the league at 21.3. We are ranked 13th at 22.2. So fairly close there. However, offensively, we have a huge edge. Jacob, why don't you tell everybody how our offensive stats line up?
All right. So I guess this is probably one of the biggest disparities that we have is in total yards per game. So we are ranked 6th in the league with 372.4 yards per game. And the Eagles have 303 yards per game, which is actually ranked 23rd. So there's quite a difference there. Rushing yards per game, we're at 136.3 yards per game, which is 6th in the league. They're at 111.6, which is 21st. And they have Saquon, who's, NFL top 100 and lightning in a bottle. He can always go for 80 yards or so. But, so far they have kind of been struggling to run. also been struggling to pass here. So passing yards per game, they have 191.7 yards per game, which is 25th in the league. And then for the Lions, we have 236.1 yards, which is good for 10th in the league for passing yards. So the yards difference, I mean, that's, that's where it shows. Like, I mean, I guess they're scoring points, obviously, but the yards are not always there. They're not moving the ball effectively.
Nope. And so, yeah, we're going to have to take advantage of that. The rushing disparity, especially, like we came in similar to the Vikings, right? We came in thinking, oh, look at that disparity. And we ended up not, doing what we need to do. In this game, Sunday Night Football, we need to control that line of scrimmage. And I, with that. All right. Defensively, the Lions come in ranked 7 in the NFL with letting up just 294 yards per game. Philadelphia Eagles come in at ranked 18th at 327.9. This is the number 1 team in the NFC, but yet we are outranking them heavily on a lot of these statistics. Rushing yards per game, 94.3. We're ranked 8th. The Eagles give up 118.6. They come in ranked number 19. Passing yards, this is probably one of the closer statistics. We're ranked 12th. They are ranked 14th. They only give up about 10 more yards in the air than us at 209.3 for them and 199.7. So, on paper, it looks like we outrank on them all. And offensively, it's really hard to know what's true with Dan Campbell calling plays, because I mean we just looked so much better last week. Was that the Commanders? I'm sure that was part of it, but I don't know, Jacob. I feel the longer I looked at that and watching the game again, it just felt like the flow was so much better, and it just felt like how we were last year. I don't know if you had a change of feelings or if you still feel the same as when we talked on Monday.
No, 100%. It did. It felt like everything was going the way that it was supposed to. The play calling, was right on. We stuck to the game plan, but I mean, everything about it was just so much better. And this is going to be the first real test of, was that one game just a fluke, or is this going to be the same thing?
Yep. So, this is the game that we wanted all year last year. We thought we were going to get in the NFC Championship game. I think we were cheated out of, NFL fans were cheated out of would have been an awesome game. But we are going to get to see it on Sunday Night Football. I talk about it with JC. I think it's going to be the highest rated game other than the opener this season. I think it's going to be, you got 1 seed versus 3 seed, just dynamite, huge fan bases, both sides. I think it's going to be a ratings juggernaut for NBC.
For the last month, they've had those lists of best matchups, for the rest of the year. Lions and Eagles has been number 1 on that every single week they release that.
Yep.
It's going to be a good game. You're right. Probably going to be highest rated. It's in Philadelphia. That's the only thing. I wish it was in Detroit, but that's okay. We'll come into your house and take over.
I kind of like it. I want to see Panay's speech. I think it's going to be dynamite. It's going to be goosebumps, like when he Kansas City opening night and he's like, close the gates. We're locked in here with you. I think it's going to be like that. They like being yelled at. They like that. I mean, they get pumped up for that. So as long as we keep our cool, we're going to be good. We're going to be good to go. And I think, the Lions have something to prove. And I think this offense is, just energized now that Dan Campbell's taken over, the play calling.
Right.
All right, so let's get to my interview with JC, because Jacob had to go to a Pistons game. Whatever, man. Hanging out with your kids. That's more important than this podcast. That's not paying you anything.
Yeah, right.
So it's a very good interview with JC. Have fun. Huge fan. Not your typical Philly fan, like that. Stereotypical Philly fan. Just knowledgeable about football, down to earth. You'll be surprised who he picks for this game, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. All right, I want to give a warm talking grit welcome to JC. He's host of JC Sports Talk. You can catch him on Twitter at JC Sports Talk 20. Loves the Eagles. We're here to talk about this big Sunday night football matchup. Thanks for joining us, JC. How you doing?
Hey, look, appreciate you, Jason, for having me on, man. Hey, look, I'm excited. It's going to be a great game. At least we think so on paper, right? Everybody thought that the Packers Eagles game was going to be this great game, and it turned out to be a defensive game, a 3-point game. So we will see. Hopefully, this upcoming Sunday night on the big stage again. I mean, we will not let the fans down, especially at the length, because the boos come out real fast if we start stinking the joint.
Yeah, Dan Campbell talked about that today. Just like the environment that the Lions are going to be going into. And, we have players that thrive in that environment. And I'm looking forward to it. I hate waiting all day for Sunday night, as the song goes, but
Yeah.
it's going to be worth it for this matchup. We waited last year to get to it. It never came, right? Commanders had to ruin it. And,
Y'all slipped up.
yeah, we did. Yeah. Injuries did not help us. They were not on our side, but, you
Yeah,
still got to win
exactly.
with the players on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but last year, hey, I know I'm joking since I said that y'all slipped up, but the injuries, man, injuries do catch up. Last year, I mean, if you put all the players y'all had on IR or out, shoot, that's the whole team, like 53
Yeah,
man roster y'all had out. I mean,
I know.
y'all was, in the playoffs with duct tape and bubble gum and stuff like that, and and y'all still give up a fight, but I still think if I personally think just watching the game that y'all kind of took them a little lightly and they came out and just the underdog mentality rolled. And from there, it was just like, oh my God, we are in a dog fight. And, when you're in a fight with an underdog, any kind of momentum, it's
I
hard
know.
to catch that back. You know what I mean? And that's why I saw, minus the injuries though.
Yeah. No. You can't turn the ball over and still win. Minus injuries or not, you can't turn the ball over and win. And Commanders, they went for it on fourth down like we like to, and they were successful and they beat us at our own game. So, hats off to them. They deserve to win that game. I have two thank yous for you, JC. Okay. Number
Okay.
one, I saw on your Twitter feed that you were an Army veteran. Is that correct?
Yes, yes,
Thank
yes.
you for your service. I really appreciate it. Second, you mentioned it, Monday Night Football. You guys beat the Packers. Big shout out. Love it. It was a crappy game to watch, but the ending was, I love the result.
Hey, look, hey, first of all, you welcome, what I mean, proud to serve, 15, 16-year Army veteran, 3 combat
Wow.
tours. So thank you for that. But look, we've been getting a lot of love from the Bears and Lions fans, surprisingly. I mean, the Bears was like, oh my God, we are united until we play on Black Friday. But
Yep.
yeah, look, the Bears, hey, look, they did us a favor. They beat the Cowboys for us. They beat the Commanders for us. And I think they beat the Giants for us.
Yeah.
So, we all working, with each other until it's time for us to face each other.
That's right. Yeah, that's the way it's going to be. We face your whole division like with the Packers in the middle. So face the Commanders last week, face you. We face the Giants the next week. Then we face Packers on Thanksgiving, and then we got the Cowboys the following Thursday. So we're just running right through the NFC East, and hopefully, Sunday night fulfills our wish for good football. I really hope so. Question for you, Howie Roseman. Tell me what his secret is, man. He is the best, I think, GM in this league, or one of the top. What's his secret? How does he keep this team, just Super Bowl contenders year after year?
I think Howie Roseman with him is the closet, right? He got put in a closet when Chip Kelly became the head coach. He got stripped of his powers. He got demoted. He was like, hey, just take a back seat. And Chip Kelly took over head coach, GM, basically, brought in players, released a lot of great players. We all know LaShawn McCoy got traded, D-Jack. So, the list goes on and on. So when Chip Kelly got fired, he came back with a vengeance. He came back with a chip on his shoulder, say, hey, I'm going to do whatever it can for me to never feel that type of, that pain again of being not taken for granted and just being cast away, right? The whole Philly mentality is underdog mentality. Even Jason Kelsey, after our first Super Bowl speech, he gave the speech from Doug Pearson being underdog, from Howie Roseman being put in a closet, the broomstick. Like, he mentioned all the people from every player we always have on the team, underdog mentality. So now Howie Roseman have an opportunity to prove himself, hey, I am capable of doing this job, and not only capable, he have exceeded. You know what I mean? Like when you see that 215 error code calling, I don't know why people still pick up for Howie Roseman, but he earned that respect around the league as one of those guys that find talent, hitting talent. He doesn't hit on every draft.
Mm-hmm.
And the Eagle fans will let you know with the JJ or Arcega-Whiteside pick instead of, I believe, JJ Arcega-Whiteside instead of DK, and then you got Jalen Reagor instead of Justin Jefferson, right? Those were like two big misses. Since then, he got smart. It's all about drafting smart players, hardworking players, SEC players, Georgia, Alabama, type dog, and small underdog players from lower universities. I just think the whole mindset is once he got a taste of that Super Bowl, he won it again, right? We won 2 Super Bowls within 7 years, and we always been in the playoffs ever since then. So, kudos to Howie, man. And
Yeah.
being the GM at Philly, it's not easy. So we also do our part in keeping him on his toes.
I'm sure you do. Speaking of phone calls, he was busy in the trade market, right? He got Jalen Phillips, who we'll talk about here in just a second, Jair Alexander, and then Michael Carter the second at the trade deadline. Obviously, the big one is Jalen Phillips. He played Monday night, 6 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 QB hits. You could talk about the trade market as a whole, or Jalen is the main piece in that trade market. So, what did you think of that move, and what do you think of how he's wheeling and dealing all season long?
Yeah, look, is even with last year, right? Even when we had some weaknesses, he listens to the fans and he also watches the game. He's very aware where the weakness is at, and he goes out and address those weaknesses, right? So to start off the season, we lost Josh Sweat in free agency and Milton Williams in free agency. After you win a Super Bowl or make a deep run into playoffs, I mean, the value of players sometimes get inflated, overvalued, big. People just go get your money. But Howie Roseman always looking 2-3 years ahead. We had some depth pieces with Nolan Smith, Jelix Hunts, Moro Jomo, what I mean, guys that could step up, when Josh Sweat and Milton Williams left. But this season did not start off like that. Our weakness was the defensive line. Jalen Carter is not playing as well. So throughout the first 7 games, he saw that. And then he took advantage of a Miami Dolphins team that's basically not going to make any noise at all this season. So he went out and traded a 3rd-round pick for Jalen Phillips. I mean, he also played very well under Vic Fangio when Vic Fangio was a defensive coordinator over there a couple years ago with the Dolphins. Yes, that was the biggest trade accusation throughout the past week or so, but he's been willing and dealing. He got Michael Carter, a nickel corner. Yes, we've been struggling at the CB2 position, so some Eagle fans think that, hey, that's a future plan, possibly moving Cooper DeJean at CB2, Michael Carter at the nickel. I don't see that happening. And then the other one, Jair Alexander. He got up and retired last night, by the way.
Yeah.
He got up and quit. I'm not going to say quit. I don't know exactly what his reason is, but mental health, physical fitness, all that come into play with a guy like that. So he's no longer in the team, but you can't miss what you never had, right? No, we
Right.
never even played with him before. But Jalen Phillips, I mean, you saw what he brought new life to that defensive front. And now with Nolan Smith being back, even 80-year-old Brandon Graham, just bringing the leadership back on the defensive front. Jalen Carter, he's been banged up, out of shape a little bit, but the past, couple weeks, man, you can see he's been rejuvenated. I think this defensive front, because of that one trade acquisition, is gonna, get back to where it was last year when we could just rush 4 and drop, 7, in the backfield, so.
Yeah, they helped you in the Super Bowl. Be able to get pressure with just 4, and oh my gosh.
Yes,
Yeah.
big time, big
Yep.
time.
So I'm going to ask you about Zadarius Smith. He was popular in Detroit last year. He seemingly wanted to come back to us, and it just didn't happen. He ended up with you guys, but then he, just shockingly retired. So how much of a shock was that for you? And we just talked about Jair stepping away, but you didn't have him on the team. Zadarius was a little different. He was on the team for a while and then decided to walk away. So how much did that hurt, and how much did that shock you?
But that's another reason why, Howie Roseman went out and had to do a trade. I mean, he had to go get another edge rusher because we didn't see that coming. Like, I'm pretty sure that Howie Roseman didn't see it. The coaches didn't see it. And he was our leading sack guy, by the way. He was
Yeah.
leading our team in sack, I think with 2.5 sacks. I mean, loving, just love playing next to the guys. And then
Mhm.
all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he retired. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm starting to think, like, is the pressure was too much or something? The same thing for Jair, same thing for Zadarius. Like, Philly is a different place to play, but everybody that comes here, free agent wise, they always like, oh my God, I love to play here, right? Because I know that I'm going to play for something bigger than just a first round pick, right?
Yeah.
So that was a shocking to the fans also. But look, I mean, we knew that Howie, and that's one thing with having Howie as our GM. We know he's gonna fix it. We know,
Mhm.
hey, just be patient. We know he's looking because, like, man, he probably was shocked. He was like, "Oh my God, how did this happen to me?" Right?
Yeah.
So now he was on the phone since then, and you know what? Sometimes players, man, we forget that players are human too.
Yeah.
Like their
Yeah.
fathers, their brothers, their sons, their uncles. We just see them as shut up, get out of there and play, blah blah blah. But players are human, right?
Mhm.
They do go through personal issues that we don't even know about. So I don't know what his reason was. So I just pray that everything is okay, that he's in a better place, like mentally, he's enjoyed his retirement. And who knows? Maybe next year he'll come back and say, "Hey, Philly, hey, I owe y'all at least 1 year. Let's come back and run it back." We'll see. But hey, happy for him, happy for Jair, man. But hey, we got to keep going, right? We got to keep marching on.
Got to ask you a couple guys you mentioned. Well, I don't think you mentioned Quinion Mitchell, but I want to ask you about him and Cooper DeJean. Like, I
Mhm.
liked Cooper coming out of college, and we drafted Terrion. You got Quinion like a pick before us. Quinion's been really, really good. So tell me about those guys and what they provide in the back end for Lions fans that maybe only saw them in the Super Bowl or don't see them very often. How good are those two guys?
Yes, some Philly fan, not me, but some Philly fan, including my co-host Bergen31, he was big on Terrion Arnold from
Hmm.
Alabama. Right? He was like, "Oh, competition matters," right? You know what I mean? Tall, lanky guy. He played at Alabama. He's got to be good. But man, when you put on the Toledo tape of Creon Mitchell, he he's like, "Oh my God, where did this dude come from?" Like, because
Hmm.
he's never really on national TV like that. As
Yeah.
Alabama, Georgia, LSU, those big schools. But man, I didn't know anything about him. But throughout the draft process, just watching his tape, just watching his coverage, just watching him go against first round, pick wide receivers at the combine, and the ball skills, like the stickiness he had, the awareness to not even grab, but to play physical. Right, he played bigger than what he is right now, and he's not afraid of nobody.
Hmm.
And to me, that was probably the biggest steal in the draft. And he fell to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
The Eagles didn't trade up at all.
Yeah.
Eagles didn't move one bit. And that draft, I think the first 12 picks was like freaking at least 6 of them was quarterback.
Yeah, that was
So
the Bo Nix and like yeah,
yeah,
JJ McCarthy all went in there, Penix. It was crazy. And I think the first defensive player was really late in that draft. So
yeah, it
it
was like
was
Heath, I think it
yeah,
was. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it was good
Hmm.
for us because we
Yeah.
didn't have to, to mortgage anything to move up, and he fell to us at I think number 22. I mean, perfect spot, a landing spot for him. The number one corner in the draft. A lot of people were saying it though, but I don't think teams really believed it
Yeah.
because if you knew that you was gonna get this guy, you would have moved up for him.
Hmm.
He was considered, at least minimum top 15, top 10 pick, first rounder for sure. And he fell to the Philadelphia Eagles at 22, much needed. CB1 for us. At that time, we had Slay, but the CB2 a position was unknown with James Bradbury at the time, just coming off his worst year with the Philadelphia Eagles. So we definitely was in the market, for another corner, and he fell right to us. And then Cooper DeJean in second round, another first round pick, but because of injuries, throughout college and stuff like that, and how we did, move up a few, picks. We traded with Washington Commanders. I'm surprised. If I'm a GM, I ain't never trading with my divisional rival
Yeah,
to help them out for what?
I know.
Why would you help your divisional opponent out? Because you about to face Cooper man, for at least 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And within your own division, just like the Dallas Cowboys traded with the Eagles, we like from 12 to 10 to draft Devontae Smith. That's the Michael Parsons draft. And, but it is what it is. But yeah, those two guys are amazing. Cooper DeJean, he is a Swiss Army knife. He could play outside. He could play nickel. He could play safety. I mean, he changed life for our defense last season. After the bye week 5, Vic Fangio insert him at the nickel corner, and the defense took off, fixed that one position, and everybody else just started playing. So those two guys right there, top 2 rookies, corners in the draft class landed on the Philadelphia Eagles, man. You cannot ask for anything better than that. Philly fans, Eagle fans everywhere, we always wanted some corners, and we got 2 in the same draft without even mortgaging the future or anything.
I know. So I went to Toledo. So Quinion,
You did.
I think Quinion was. I mean, it was way. I mean, I graduated a while ago, but I was rooting for the guy because you don't see Toledo players get drafted in the first round, and you probably for the reason you said, smaller school, MAC school, right? You don't know the level of competition there. It's hard to project that, especially at the corner position. In the SEC, Terrion's facing all those LSU wide receivers. You could kind of see things, but yeah, as of right now, Quinion Mitchell's head and shoulders above Terrion. Now, I think Terrion's played his best 2 games the last 2 weeks. He has turned his head. He's starting to do a lot of things that he needs to do, not getting grabby in his routes. So I'm not giving up on him at all. But yeah, Quinion Mitchell definitely. Yeah, we could have traded up one more spot. And I want to touch on one other thing you said: trading with your division rivals. We did the same thing with the Packers. We traded with the Packers and got Brian Branch. So Brian Branch is like talk about facing someone for 10 years.
Alabama,
you don't want to face
right? Alabama, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Alabama started as a freshman for Nick Saban in the back end. I mean, that just tells you all you need to know right there. All right.
Yeah. I love Branch. I love a few players on y'all team, honestly. Like, I mean, they're on my fantasy team, by the way. So it's gonna be, but real life for me matters over fantasy. If depending how the score goes, I need a couple fantasy points,
Yeah. You got to hedge your bets, right? I mean, you're just like, oh, you know what? I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy in one area of my football fandom. So I got to talk to you about the ending of the Eagles Packers game. Okay, I don't know what was going on with the game management at the end. So maybe you could help me out. Maybe you're scratching your head. So right before the 2-minute warning, you guys run 2 pass plays. You basically gift the Packers two timeouts that they could have used right before and then they go for it on the 4th down at the end. So tell me, were you screaming at your TV like I was? Were you just like, I like being aggressive? So tell me what you were thinking and what you think the Eagles were thinking.
Well, when that 4th incompletion, the 4th and 6, from I believe the 40-something yard line. Yeah, I thought that Nick Sirianni made a big mistake. Huge mistake. I'm like, look, just punt the ball. I mean, they had no timeouts remaining. Like, hey, force them to at least drive the length of the field, at least get in good field goal range. Anything. Man, we always like that. I mean, Twitter was blowing up with fans like, what the hell Nick doing? It came out that Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown
I was going to ask
decided
you about this.
They decided to go rogue to try to end the game, put a nut in the coffin, and just But sometimes, man, look, as well as we do, your coach, sometimes he go for it a lot. As a matter of fact, I don't think we might see one punt this Sunday night. Both
Could be.
coaches love to go for fourth down, but yeah, that was if we would have lost that game, it would have been crazy in Philly throughout this whole week. You know what I mean? Like Nick, hey, control your team. What is Jalen Hurts doing? What's AJ Brown, cancer, blah, blah, blah. It was going to be bad, especially with that defensive performance that the Philadelphia Eagles defense play, how they play to go to Lambeau on a Monday night, frozen tundra. Nobody usually win it. The Packers won 6 straight home games. All that good stuff. Yeah, we always screaming. But sometimes you just don't know. Sometimes players want to do their own thing because they have earned the right, Super Bowl champ, the Super Bowl MVP, you know what I mean? Like when you win a Super Bowl, it kind of gives you a little bit of leadway, players, coaches to do some dumb shit. Right?
Yeah.
Excuse my French, you know what I mean? And to do some dumb stuff, So but yeah, we all were screaming at that. And whew, thank God it didn't come back and bite us in the ass, man.
Yeah. I saw the report about that. I was do you think that's true? Do you think AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts just decided, do you think they were gonna do a different play and they thought, we're gonna go for it all? Or what do you think, what do you think, meaning that they went rogue? Like they went rogue going for it, like hiking the ball? Or do you think the play, like going deep, was going rogue?
Well, I mean, in 2023, during our collapse, we played who was that team we played? The Seahawks. We played the Seahawks. And a play was called and Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. Hurts did AJ Brown, hey, we're gonna do our own thing, and they threw it deep and complete, and we ended up losing that game too. So so I do believe that it's not like a bad thing as just, hey, don't listen to the coach, or I don't know. Maybe the plan was to try to get the Packers to jump off sides, not go for it, but then they kind of saw something, was like, okay, F what the, coach, hey, let's do something and just go for it. Maybe that's what, I doubt that from the huddle, they said, hey, we're going to go for it. Like, I just think the initial plan was to try to get them jump off side or try to make believe, trying to get something closer, trying to end the game that way. But then they saw something and just say, Barkley and Barkley and Hurts did that versus, I forgot the team, there was the Rams, where the Hurts and Barkley, they called their own play. They saw something, they called their own play, and Barkley went on a wheel route up the sideline, touchdown. So sometimes, the players see things that they probably talk to the coach about, and the coach kind of sometimes just give them a little leadway. But 4th and 6, though, I mean, a 3-point game.
That's still on Sirianni for even putting him out there. I mean, you know what I mean? He should have just lined up that punt routine, not even give him that. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But also on that play, AJ Brown, like, he could have, if he would have fought for that ball, that would have been DPI, because the defender wasn't even looking back. It was borderline DPI the way it was, like face guarding. And if AJ Brown would have given any sort of effort to get back to the ball, I think he would have drew the flag. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw that. And I mean, this season been rough for AJ Brown. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's been rough.
Yeah.
Even when he had 4 catches for 100-something yards, 2 touchdowns, he still was complaining, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a disconnect there. I don't know if it's with the offensive coordinator and AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. I'm not gonna speculate anything. I'm not in the locker room. I'm not, I don't have AJ Brown number. I don't have Jalen Hurts number. So I can't.
Oh man,
No,
you were going to be my hookup.
man, I had it, but I lost it. You know what I mean?
Alright,
So,
gotcha.
but yeah, so I don't know what's going on, because last year we were still a running first team, right? I mean, Saquon Barkley set the all-time NFL most yards in a season by a running back, and AJ Brown had over 1,000, and he missed 4 games.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith had like 8 something, and he missed 3 games. So, but we still was throwing the ball, right? Scheming these guys open. This year is almost like 2023 all over again, where they promote within and the offense coordinator is not qualifying enough, especially on a Super Bowl winning team. When the following season, every team they have a whole offseason to study tape to, hey, how do we stop the Super Bowl champs from winning this game? Like they have a whole offseason. And like you come out there was like, we're just gonna promote within, trying to keep everything in house, and I'm just trying to tweak things. That tweak is not working. The tweak is becoming obvious. Like that tweak is making your number one wide receiver mentally not into these games. So yes, the 4th and 6 went for it. If AJ Brown was in the game the whole time, keeping him engaged, two targets, 2 catches for 13 yards, and until that 4th and 6, not another target. Of course, AJ Brown is a diva too, right? Just like T.O., just like all the great wide receivers, they want the ball. And for you to throw him that at 4th and 6, he'd be like, whatever.
Yeah.
But if he was into the game, absolutely. I definitely would see him fighting a little bit harder, because you are absolutely right. That was borderline. I mean, I've seen him throw flags for less. And AJ was looking back, the receiver was right here. But if AJ would have just went over him and tried to do something, that would have been PI in a game and right there. So it happens.
Yeah. All right. I want to know something from a fan perspective, because as a Lions fan, I've never been to the Super Bowl. Okay, never. I mean, my team's never been to the Super Bowl. For you as a fan, I'm not talking about the team. For you as a fan, you guys win the Super Bowl. How soon after that are you done celebrating and you're looking forward to next season?
Look, the first time, 2017, when the Eagles won a Super Bowl, first time in franchise history, never won a Super Bowl before. I mean, have you ever watched a championship happen, whether it's basketball, baseball, whatever it is? It comes across the screen. Your team had just won the Super Bowl. These are the things you could. Man, I was saving up for years. Man, I'm ordering everything on the TV. Expensive as hell, though. You know what I mean? The towels was like $80. I don't care. Give it. Oh, I've been saving my whole life. I mean, it's exciting, right? So, until that banner dropped that following season, I walked around as Super Bowl champs.
Yeah.
I was like, look, I don't care what happened next season. I'm the Super Bowl champ, this and that, blah, 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 And then the following season happened, and we almost went to the NFC a championship game, and we lost to the Saints on the hobble, Alshon Jeffrey, bobble up, interception, all that stuff. So this season, I was ready. I was ready after probably a month. I was ready to say, hey, how can we repeat again? Can we be the first team since the Dallas Cowboys in 94, 95 to go back-to-back Super Bowls, to actually win back-to-back Super Bowls? Can we be the first team in the NFC? So just like the players were ready to move on. I mean, shoot, AJ Brown was like a week, not even a week. That's it. Sure. Oh man, the grind was more exciting than winning it all, because after you win it all, just like, I'm here. Wow. Okay. Pictures, shows, interviews. Oh man, but that's their job though. Everyday job, right? I mean, that's a passion, so I can understand. But me as a fan, I was ready to move on a month later. Even though I was like, God, if you help me win this Super Bowl, I will not X you next year. But I'm Xing them again this year.
That's right. It's like your kids on Christmas. Just give me this one gift and I'll never ask for anything else. And then the next day it's like, hey, can we do this? Can we do this? Yep, I got it.
But he knew I was going to ask him again. You know what I mean? He already knew I was going to ask him again.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I was ready to move on. I mean, and I understand the opening night, the players wasn't even out on the field because it's a long off season. You won a Super Bowl in February, and you're doing TV shows, book deals, the parade and all this, all off season, all the noise. Hey, you Super Bowl champ, but you gotta get ready for a season that's coming up. So I love the mindset that the players have from Mariota, from Jalen Hurts, was like, hey, we're not defending anything. Hey, we gotta go win it again. We already won it. We can't lose it. We can't lose the Super Bowl. Hey, we gotta go win it again. And that was their mindset. Every single player on the Eagles was saying the exact same thing. So coming into the season, with that schedule, you have to be mentally prepared.
Yeah. All right. Before I head out of here, I want to know, you don't have to predict the score. You don't have to predict the outcome. You can if you want. But tell me a prediction that you have for the game, like how you think it's going to go.
I think this game is going to be the Eagles' toughest game by far this season. The Lions have possess a lot of mismatch opportunities. Gibbs is the number one mismatch on the field, in my opinion. He could line up as a wide receiver. He could run up a line up as a wildcat. He could line up as a running back. I mean, his vision, his speed, his hands, like the wheel routes that, that Dan Campbell is going to try to explore our linebackers. I mean, he's going to try to find a mismatch and, the running back screens. And then you throw in St. Brown in there. And then you got Jamison Williams. He's starting to come into his groove now. And then you still got Laporta. I mean, that Lion, probably the most talented. Yes, we faced the Bucks, but Mike Evans was in there. Chris Godwin was in there. Yes, we faced the Rams. Yes, they had an 18-point lead, but Kyrie Irving is not Gibbs, right? You know what I mean? That's not the same. And that tight end is not Laporta. So, we beat the Rams twice last year. So, we played them a lot. Matter of fact, we beat the Rams like 4 straight times, right? But the Lions, man, we haven't played them in a minute, and they have some offensive power, man. And then on the defensive side, I mean, Hunch, you're my guy. I'm Hutchinson, from Michigan, right? No, Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
No,
No, Michigan. Don't say Ohio.
because
Michigan.
hey, I'm a Penn State fan, so
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It's always Michigan, Ohio, with these nasty edge rushers like the Bosa's and the Hutchinson. But yes, this game is gonna be challenging, and like I told Bergen 31 last night, I could see the Eagles losing this game. We had to split. We couldn't lose both. If we was gonna lose versus the Packers, we had to beat the Lions. If we was going to beat the Packers, then we could kind of like, okay, those are 2 back-to-back tough games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it presents a lot of trouble. But we'll see, because our defense right now, yes, I know is one game. Yes, I know we're completely healthy. This is the healthiest we've been all season long on the defensive side, right? Cooper DeJean at the nickel, Mitchell. So I'm thinking, who's gonna cover? Who's gonna go with Gibbs at the nickel? Is he gonna be moving everywhere? So it's gonna be a chess match. But I can see this being a close game, 27-21 type Lions win.
And you're trying to butter up my crowd. I want a good game, man. I think these are really 2 really good teams. Dan Campbell coming in, being head coach or being the offensive play caller now could be an X factor. We'll see. But yeah, I'm looking for good. Scotty Montgomery, our assistant head coach today, said this is the best defense the Lions have going to face all season right now, is what he said earlier today. And Dan Campbell gave you guys nothing but props. Basically said, this is a team that knows how to win. And you got obviously Super Bowl champions, but there's a lot to it. We were talking before we got on here. You're 7-2. You're tired of people saying you're not playing your best, but you're 7-2. You know how to win games. You tried to cough it up at the end of the Packers game, and I would have shot you if that had happened. But it did happen. But you guys know how to win games, and I think that is a skill that great teams possess. Just pulling out wins and knowing how to win a game.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go
Now,
ahead, man.
if the Eagles would win this game, what is the weakness on the Lions? How would the Eagles win this game? I mean, is it pressure on Jared Goff up the middle to try to not, give him enough time to get the ball out to his weapons? Like, what is the weakness on the Lions?
Okay, I tell you, the number one thing is if you could stop our run game and get us behind the sticks, like you don't even necessarily need to stop it, but if you could stall drives by stopping the run game, you neutralize a lot of the play action too, which I know you guys are subject to reading the stats. You guys are subject to play action pass. So I think your number one thing would be to stop the run. That's what the Vikings did to us 2 weeks ago when we lost. And then they also ran a lot of. They were also able to get pressure on Goff, but it all starts with getting him behind the sticks. Now, Campbell is the play caller here, and I just feel like he has a good idea of the rhythm and the flow of the game. So I think he would be quicker to adjust rather than 2 weeks ago. So I don't know how we're going to react in that situation. But if you're asking me how to beat us defensively, you need to stop our run. That's the number one thing. And then on for your offense, I think for you need guys. Saquon needs to get going for you guys. You need to get into like some third and manageables because Hurts is the X factor. Because if you could get in that 3rd and 4, then you got to really you can't let him run, right? And then
Yeah.
you guys got if you could get AJ Brown at least interested in the game, and you get him started early, that's gonna be trouble. Because I don't care who you have over there. You can have Sauce Gardner over there. If AJ Brown wants to play, he's going to take over the game. He is that good. His size alone allows
Yeah.
that. And then Devontae Smith, you saw what happened. One play, the Packers took off, and you guys won that game because of that. So you got to be careful of that. So, but I would say it starts with the run game, both ends. Like you need to get Saquon going, and he doesn't have to have 200 yards, but he needs to be able to get. We
Yeah.
need to be able to get to 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6, and then you guys, we know what happens when you get to 3rd and 1. We know that.
How's your run defense looking?
Our run defense is pretty solid. We're in the top 10 of run defense. We actually have the best conversion rate on 3rd and shorts in the league, less than like 3rd and 1s, less than 50%. I think we're way above the next team. But you guys present your own unique challenge. I mean, we haven't seen a tush push this year. Bears might have tried it, but that's Caleb Williams. Whatever the Bears do,
Mhm.
but you guys, you know, you guys are the best at it for a reason. Now I know you guys get, every camera on you, looking for every false start. And I'm sure you guys get tired of that because I know other teams probably do that too, but the spotlight's
Yeah.
on you, Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, yeah. I know that y'all in the top 6 in offense, top 7 in defense, or vice versa. I know it's
Yeah.
one apart. I know once again we're about to face another top 10 offense, top 10 defense, like just like the Packers was a top 10 offense, top 10 defense. So I've been keeping one eye on y'all, while watching my own Philadelphia Eagles play. But yeah, this is gonna be a big. Yeah, I know y'all beat the Ravens, right? Y'all beat the
Yeah.
Ravens.
And that was early in season when they had they had their whole offense, and that was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
game. That was a fun game to watch. And I look at the same thing. This is like, regardless of our fandom, JC,
yeah.
we are football fans, right? And this is what we want. You want to see the top teams face each other. Sunday Night Football. We're the only game going on in the country. Everyone's going to be watching. I don't know what your guys' rating is, but I bet you this is going to be one of the highest, if not the highest rated Sunday Night Football game of the season. I would probably put money on that.
So I saw something that St. Brown kind of, threw a little punch towards one Commanders players.
Yeah.
Is there a fine? Is there anything? Have you
He's
heard
going to get
anything?
fined. I don't see a suspension. There hasn't been a talk of Gerard Payne got suspended. Now, I'll tell you the whole thing is basically 2 plays before Gerard Payne punched him. There's like a scuffle. Like Amon-Ra talked about it on his podcast today. He got blocked to the ground. He gets up,
Mhm.
is jawing with the guy, not doing anything. But Gerard Payne comes up and kind of just shoves Brown. Now, Gerard Payne is 330. Amon-Ra is like, a buck 80 or whatever he is. And, they're scuffling back and forth. Amon-Ra, there's video of it now. Durant, they found the video, and it looks like Amon-Ra he hits him like, it looks like he hits him in the shoulder pad and then it goes to the face mask. But it's like the ref's right there. And then what they don't show is Gerard Payne grabs Amon-Ra's face mask after that. They separate him out. Should have been offset penalties is really what it should have been. But then 2 plays later, Gerard Payne, Amon-Ra, they score a touchdown. That was Gibbs scored a touchdown. Amon-Ra says something smart to Payne, and Payne just hauls up and, close fists punch him. The situations were not the same. Amon-Ra definitely is going to get fined, I would say, but I don't think he'll get suspended. And if something happens, the NFL wants this game to be
Yeah,
marquee, and I
yeah.
think they
That's what
would
I'm about
wait
to
till next
say.
week. We play the Giants next week at 1:00. if they're going to knock Amon-Ra,
Yeah.
that's the game that they're going to
Suspend him
do.
for that
So
game. Suspend him for that game. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Because the same thing happened with the Chiefs Lions game, right? With Branch, right? When
yeah,
he got blindsided by Juju, and then at the end
yeah,
of the game, and he ended up a one game
yeah.
suspension. But that was an all out brawl,
That
right?
was an
So
all-out brawl. It was after the game. Again, primetime matchup, so all the eyes were on that. Where this was a 4 o'clock game, still there's only 3 games, but it's not like Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, so
yeah,
not as much going on. And yeah, Amon-Ra should or Brian Bryant should not have done what he did, but it was also open face, and then they retaliated right away, and then whatever happened happened. But Branch deserved to get suspended. I don't. I'm gonna probably get fined. Deron Payne definitely deserved to get suspended if they're gonna be consistent because this was 2 plays later. It's not like to me there's like heat of the battle stuff. Like I'm
yeah,
blocking, push it back and forth. Okay, then there's 2 plays later we score a touchdown. I'm walking by you and I just punch you in the face. That there's a difference there, but I'm probably biased too because I'm a Lions fan, so I want to look at it how it benefits me. But yeah, I don't think anything's going to happen to Amon-Ra this game. Nothing. No, I haven't heard anything. No one's asked Dan. I thought they would ask Dan Campbell about it in the press conference today, just because the video had come out, but no one did. Probably the B reporters didn't want to put it on anybody's radar. They just put it under the rug. But NFL's not going to want to mess with this matchup. They know what they got here.
yeah. I don't want no excuses.
Hmm.
I want a good game. I know this is the game that St. Brown asked for. He said,
Yeah,
"Hey, we want the champ opening night, but
yeah,
they decided to give us the Cowboys. So it is
yeah,
what it is. But now this game is here. So I want everybody healthy. Both teams are healthy. But Lane Johnson, he went out versus the
yeah,
Packers. It
yeah.
looked nasty at first, but he came back and got it
Come
through. I
back.
don't
Yeah,
know how. Yeah, so I don't know how after a couple days, how the swelling could come back, whatever it was. Kim Jurgen, our center, we definitely need him back, but he didn't play versus the Packers. I don't know his status is right now. I didn't check the injury report yet. Today is the
yeah,
first day back at practice. Um, but besides that, we're looking pretty good. All of our
yeah,
receivers. Dallas Goddard having a career year. He
yeah.
leads. He's tied with St. Brown before. I don't know if St. Brown scored a touchdown or not this past
He got
Sunday.
one. He got one this
Yeah,
weekend. Yeah,
alright, but he was tied with St. Brown with 7-7 with touchdowns. So, I mean, it's gonna be a good matchup. There's
yeah,
firepower all over the field. There's
yep.
superstars all over the field, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be who can control the line of scrimmage on both sides,
Oh, I know.
offense and
Yep.
defense.
Yeah. And both, I mean, they both both of our teams built it that way. I mean, we draft high in those positions. Offensive line is,
Yeah,
defensive line. That's how you win games. So it's fun. It's going to be best on best. And I'm looking forward to it, man.
me too.
All right, JC, tell people where they could check you out and if you have any, stuff regarding this matchup, if you're going to put anything up, let them know about that too.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, Jason, once again, man. This was a blast, man. Look,
Yeah.
I could talk football with anybody. I'm not that regular. I'm not the usual Eagles fan that's just nasty. Da, 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 da. I talk logic sports. It's facts
Yeah.
over feelings for me, right? I'm
Yep.
not gonna say, well, we're better than you. No, 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 no. Like I could see, teams, the differences, and the sports fans and those who just talk because of feelings and talk because of facts. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm one of those that speak facts. I'm on Twitter, JC Sports Talk 20. I'm on YouTube, me and Bird Game 31 every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We hold a podcast that's called The Truth. I tell the truth. He's delusional. I told him that last night that the Lions, it might squeeze this one out. He didn't want to hear it because he's going to be at the game. But yeah, so that's every Tuesday. As far as the game, hey, I live tweet. And trust me, hey, I'll be live tweeting almost every freaking play, good or bad. Hey, I give kudos where kudos is due, but hey, I have no beef with Lion fans. But until then, y'all gonna lose. Y'all going down.
All right, JC, you've been awesome. I love talking football just like you. I have trouble finding my own bias, but I'm not disrespectful. I respect my opponents and yeah, who knows? This may not be our only meeting this year. It could be some
It may
later
not.
on. So we'll have to keep this friendship going.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks. All right, Jacob. You're gonna have to listen to that interview later on. It's a good one. So, keys to victory. I know you didn't have a ton of time to prepare because of the Pistons stuff tonight. So I don't know how many you have. I can go first if you don't have many, or if you want to go first, it's up to you.
I've just got a few. Just speaking from the heart here, I don't exactly have the stats to back myself up in front of me, but
Okay.
my first key to victory: keep them away from third and short, fourth and short. I don't want the whole experiment. A lot of metrics and a lot of reasons. They see that if there was a team that was going to be able to stop the tush push effectively, it may be the Lions. Right? We have Aleem, we have DJ Reader, we've got Hutch on the line as well. We have really good linebackers that are really
Roy Lopez.
Exactly. We get a lot of push in there. So I mean, I guess part of me wants at least one to see, like, okay, let's just see it one time. Let's see if we can stop it. But I don't want to be giving them these third and short, fourth and short situations. Just because when it's for short, then they know, okay, well, if they have a 2nd and 3, they'll tush push 3 times. They've done it several times before. And I just don't even want to give them that short yard situation where we have to have that. Because obviously, if some controversial thing with the rule, it'll happen against the Lions. It'll be some sort of weird, so that's my first one, is just try to keep them at bay, keep them in third and long situations.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. I'm with you though. I'm very curious to see how the Lions defend it. So maybe one early, like maybe the first drive, early when they're on their side of the field, just to see how we do it, and then after that,
And then
it's
we
third and
stop
long
them
every
that time, and then right there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Jacob, you probably didn't see it, but on Twitter, and I think Jeremy might have posted this. I'm not sure, but the Lions are the most effective team in the NFL at stopping 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 in the league by far. We're like way above everybody else. The Falcons are number 2. So not that we're facing the Eagles tush push, but I remember Caleb Williams trying to get 2. They did back to back, and he got stopped both times. So Lions, I think are prepared for it, but yeah, I do want to see it. I want to see how it matches up, especially since Dan Campbell is very defiant about it. He's like, don't want to change the rules. We just got to figure out a way to stop it, and hopefully we've figured out a way to stop it. All right, my first one is we got to win the red zone war. And by that, I mean we got to stop them from scoring touchdowns on there, and we have to take advantage and score touchdowns when we get in there, because the Eagles' offense is ranked number 1 when they get in the red zone, and their defense is ranked number 4. So they're very good at getting it in the end zone, and they're very good at keeping people out of the end zone. Our offense is ranked number 4 when we get down there, so still top, but our defense is ranked 25th in red zone efficiency. And we saw that last week, right? Washington got down there 3 times and scored all 3 times. So this is going to be huge. And, the Eagles can use the tush push down there. And we'll, the object is let's just not even let them in the red zone. But if they do get down there, we got to, don't let them get in there, get 2nd and 3. We need to be efficient on first down. So win the red zone war is my first one. Do you have another one?
That's a good one. I want to force Jalen Hurts to throw the ball. Obviously, you want to pressure him. You want to be smart about the way that we pressure him, which we've been really good, with rushing quarterbacks thus far, and having, somebody be kind of like a spy or a delay. We've played it really well so far, but I do want to make him throw the ball. I don't want to just let these scrambles and everything, because obviously it's a big part of their game is him being able to use his legs to run around and extend these plays and everything. So I think that we're going to do pretty well. Obviously, sucks without having Kirby in this scenario, but I think we're going to be doing pretty well defending the pass if we just make him throw the ball. And I do want to blitz. I do want to rush him, but I just want to make sure that he's actually throwing it and he's not just taking off each time. We don't need to give him any more lanes.
Yep. Yeah. So the way you said that, I'm going to combine 2 of mine. Okay. Number 1, I want to run the same spy defense like we've run on Baker and Lamar. Like,
Yep.
It doesn't have to be the exact same way, but I like that way. You rush 3, you kind of delay blitz the 4th rusher, and he kind of does, spy, or he comes in late. I like the way we played defense like that. And I do agree with you that, Hurts will make a mistake. So I want to get up early. Like, we were so efficient on offense versus Washington, getting up 21-3. You kind of lock them into a certain way of playing at that point, like where they might feel the pressure. And Hurts will throw one away, or he'll throw one up too deep. Something will happen. We could get a pick, and in that scenario, yes, you would like Kirby back there at safety because he could probably pick one off. But I want to just be efficient on offense and get up early and make them play from behind. I think we're so much better team when we're up by one score, two scores early. I mean, most teams are. I think that's common, but I think that the Lions really know how, especially with Dan Campbell calling the play in the offense. He's not going to let up. Like, I feel like the Bengals game was a cautionary tale, like where we kind of John Morton didn't know how to run Dan Campbell's offense when we were up. Like, Dan Campbell does not let up. He does not let up. And it doesn't matter. You look at, we're going forward on 4th down versus Chicago, and getting 50 points or whatever. Dan Campbell just, that's the way it goes. And so I want to get up a couple scores because I know Dan Campbell will know how to call the rest of the game.
You'd also take the crowd out of it as well.
Yes.
If you start getting up by a little bit more, then the crowd's less effective. And and Eagles fans are
let
the worst.
them start booing their own players.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Throwing popcorn at AJ Brown.
All right, there's a couple insights that NFL Pro had that I think are very poignant to this game. The first one is Eagles defense struggles against play action pass, allowing 10 yards per attempt, the 5th most in the NFL. And we know how much the Lions like to run play action pass. So that when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that's like right up our alley. So we need to take advantage of that. But to be able to run play action pass, we need to be able to run it. So we need to be able to show that, and then the play action pass will be really effective. And the thing that I will caution on is, I didn't realize this, but Jalen Hurts gets the 2nd most yards per attempt when playing against a man coverage, and we know how much the Lions play man coverage. So that'll be interesting to see how Shep does that. Is he playing into Hurts' hands? Because do we change up what we're doing, or we just say, you know what, Hurts, you got to beat us? To me, Shep's going to stay man, because when we went zone against Mahomes, we got beat up pretty good, but Mahomes is a zone beater. So maybe that's the reason why it's like a pitcher, right? If your best pitch is your fastball, you don't want to get beat with a slider, right? You should get beat with your best pitch. Maybe that's what Shep thinks. Like, we play best man, see if you could beat us playing that. But I guess the important thing for Shep is probably to disguise the coverage so Hurts can't read what we're doing ahead of time. That'd be the best thing.
That's when Devontae Smith comes into play, because that's when they do just decide, okay, before the ball's even snapped, pretty much, like, I'm just going to take a shot down here.
Yep.
And we saw Mariota do that,
I hope
8 times against us or something like that. And that was some of the success they had, was just hitting those big plays.
Yeah. Well, I also think that some of those teams, at last ditch effort, they're like, throw it up to Terry on side and hope he gets a PI. And
Right.
Until, and he started looking back on the ball. I'm telling you, man, on the L22, he looked back on the ball and they didn't throw that flag. So if he keeps that up, then he's, that'll go away. Like, they're going to keep doing it until, it doesn't show that it works. And, it didn't work in the last game. So he's just got to continue doing it and looking, and, maybe he got a pick a couple weeks ago. Maybe he'll get another one, just because he's got an eye on the ball.
That would be huge.
That would be awesome. All right, Jacob, let's move on to the Roar Alert. This is the line that's going to make some noise. You want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
You can go first. Let's see what you got.
Mine is Tesla is going to have his best game. Now, that could be 3 catches, right? So, I mean, it's not huge, but this is going to be Tesla's best game up until now. I think he's going to have a better game. I'm not saying he's going to be the best wide receiver out there at all, but I'm saying that Tesla's going to show up in this game.
All right. I'm going to go on the defensive side of the ball for this one. I'm going to say Jack Campbell. He's been playing really well. He's had a lot of really good weeks, but this is going to be a big one in prime time. They do have Saquon. I just have a feeling that Jack Campbell's going to do something noteworthy here. Obviously, he's going to be getting a handful of tackles without a doubt, but He's going to make an impactful play or two. Maybe he's the one that stops the tush push.
No, he definitely could. We saw him stop him at the goal line.
Yeah.
He's dangerous at punching that ball out. Yeah, I'd like to see it. Yep. Like I said the last podcast, he's who I want to be when I grow up. I will let you go first with your grit guarantee, Jacob.
All right, I nailed the grit guarantee last week, so I don't think I have to worry about a superstitious thing anymore for right now until I fail at another one. My grit guarantee here, I'm going to say that Gibbs goes 100 plus rushing.
Right.
Not exactly easy to do against Philadelphia. It's just like we already said, the primetime thing. I know Dan Campbell's running the offense. We're not going to shy away from the run. We're going to keep doing it. He's eventually going to be able to break a couple of them off. So I'm gonna guarantee Gibbs gets 100 rush yards.
I like it. I'm going a little different on this one. All right, I am going with there's going to be a penalty called on Philadelphia during a tush push play. This is going to be the game.
This will be where they make the example, huh?
This is it because the Lions voted for it. We're not totally, against it. It's a Sunday night football game. The NFL's not going to want to have, this posted everywhere with a false start or whatever. Think that this is a game where it happens that they call it false starts might most likely, thing that they would call penalty on, but at some, could be something else. But I think that there's going to be a penalty called, and it's on Philadelphia, not on the Lions. I'm going to say Philadelphia gets called with a penalty in the tush push.
All right. That's funny because I actually kind of thought the same thing. I was like, is this going to be like now it's in prime time? It's a tough matchup. Is this going to be when they finally start making those calls? Because time and time again, it's just like it seems like they almost the refs even call the play in Philadelphia's favor. We talked about with the fumble where they blew it dead way after the fact, and the fact that they literally go early. I mean, probably like 50-60% of the time somebody's moving early. So I'm down for it.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. Jacob, I am so excited for this game. This, outside of like week one, this is probably the game that I've been most excited for. The Chiefs game was pumping me up, but I think coupled with Eagles, who, we won the matchup last year, and then Dan Campbell taking over the play calling duty, I'm reinvigorated. I feel good. So I am super excited about this game.
Absolutely. Obviously you don't want to overlook the Giants, but after this one, we've got the Giants and then you got the Packers on a short week on Thanksgiving. So the Packers will be the next big one. But after this, we're at Philadelphia. After this, there's only 3 more away games. And those are at the Rams and the last 2 weeks at the Vikings, at the Bears. So, I mean, it's going to be tough. It would go a long way towards, winning the division and everything if we can beat the Eagles this week.
I know.
It's by no means over if we don't get it done, but I mean, it is huge for us if we're able to come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, getting top seed would be very difficult if we lose this game, depending on how the season wraps up. But yeah,
I almost don't want the top seed again.
Yeah, I know. I'm not as like gung ho about it, and some of it's just from the way we lost last year, and other parts I'm just like, you know what? It's not the end all be all, but
Sorry, go ahead. I wasn't trying to cut you off.
I was gonna say, we had never done it before, so that, and plus, like us going 14-2 and the Vikings going 14-2, it was just that or the 5th seed. So we really needed the 1 seed at that point.
Right. That's true, but it's also we didn't play well coming off of that the bye that we got at the end. We didn't come off well after the bye week this week. Again, we had the bye, then we played the Vikings, and then we kind of, crapped the bed against the Vikings in a game we should have won. Right. So that leads me to believe like we just maybe we don't need the time off. We don't need the extra rest. We just need to keep fighting, keep digging at it week after week. So we'll see what what the injuries look like and everything.
I keep going back to something, Jacob, in my head is after the Vikings loss, a lot of the players said, this is maybe what we needed. And I didn't think of it at the time. Like, yeah, okay, you can reality check. You got lost to the Vikings, division, a division game at home. But then that started Dan Campbell calling the plays, right? So like that was enough to push them into that. And then you're like, well, maybe from that angle, it was, good that happened. It pushed us, especially with the stretch that we coming up. We had Washington. I know they were down last week, but now going to Eagles is huge, and then Packers in a couple weeks, right? We have to be like on our game.
I'm all for having like that slingshot game where you kind of get pulled back and then it just propels you forward. But that's like towards the end of the season. That's the last like 3 or 4 weeks when you lose one and then maybe you're on the fringe of the division, and it really just sets you up to go on a run to finish the season and then to continue that in the playoffs. In my opinion, you don't have that kind of slingshot game in week 9 at home against a divisional opponent. So we can look now and say, you know what, maybe it was positive that Dan Campbell took over the play calling and we played so well the following week. But if it does make as much of a difference as it did in Washington, like if that continues to be the trend, then it's almost like, okay, that inevitably was going to happen at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So good of them to, finally pull the trigger when they had to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't, obviously you can take every L and turn it into a lesson, but
yes,
that one's going to stick for a while.
Yeah. No, but if anything, like this team bounces back from losses and they use that like.
I mean, that's great, but you don't want to go, 8-7 or what would it be? You don't want to.
No,
we won't lose 2 in a row, but we'll lose a handful. Like that's not good.
He'll lose every other game. No, that would be terrible too. So, Jacob and I will be doing our NFL episode because of us recording late tonight. We're not going to record that tonight, so we're going to do that tomorrow. So that'll be out Friday morning. We'll put that out. Usually that's Thursday afternoon, but it'll be Friday morning this week. We're going to talk NFC playoff picture, and we're going to talk about MVP, rookie of the year, that kind of stuff, kind of mid-season stuff. But the playoff picture is kind of taking shape. There's really, some definites and some not definites and not much in the middle. So we'll talk about that and what our thoughts on, and I look forward to that. And hopefully Jacob's got a little time to study tomorrow so we can have a good conversation.
Do you want to call our Thursday night picks now just because the game will already be happening? Because
that's
I was highly contested Thursday night must-see game coming up.
Yeah, if we're picking differently on this, I'd be shocked. So I'm picking the Patriots. Are you picking the Patriots, I'm assuming?
I am also picking the Patriots.
Wow, that's a
At
shocker.
Home against the New York Jets.
Like, they could flex Thursday night games at this point, right? I cannot believe they didn't flex this game.
They must not be able to, because I don't know why they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Did that start already?
I don't know when they can. Maybe it's a little later in the season.
I thought it was like the last 4 weeks, but I don't know that.
Okay. It could be. I don't know, but you would think they would flex this. Especially if they're trading deadline deals and Jets send everybody else,
13 and weeks 13 and through 17.
Okay.
Is when they can flex
that makes
them,
sense,
so it's still a little early. I was gonna say because there's just the NFL couldn't just willingly let this happen if they could, change it.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. I'll be rooting for the Jets. I want AG to get a win, but maybe the Jets don't want to win. They want to keep that draft pick. They want to keep it towards the top.
The Jets organization probably does, but I don't think that. I would love to be in the room when they have to tell AG like we need you to take it easy and probably not try to win this game.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
Right.
Media in New York is getting an earful from him, man.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not going to back down either, though. Like, love AG.
No, he will not. All right, Jacob. Good game. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to talking to you on Monday night about the game. Hopefully, we're both in a very good mood on a victory Monday. So we'll see. Yep. All right. For that guy over there, Jacob, I'm Jason. Let's go, Lions.